on weekends, I used to maximize my time. So for example, weekdays you have to work and you are tired, but on weekends you have whole 2 days of prep. You have to sacrifice some things like partying with your friends, meeting your friends for some time, but if you can utilize that 2 days effectively and maximize your prep during that, that would help you. And I genuinely did my most of the prep during the weekend only.
What are your opinions regarding like how important are mocks and how frequently should you give mocks, and how many did you give during your preparation?
So for any preparation, not just CAT or any exam, I think any preparation, it's always important to test yourself, how you're going and how you benchmark with your peers. That's a very important factor, and that's where I guess mocks come in. It is a good way to assess if you're going in the right direction, and if not, where you're going wrong and what is something that you need to improve. So that's where mocks help in. A good number, I don't think there's a one answer for that. Everyone feels comfortable after a certain point. But a decent number would be, I think, somewhere around 20, 25. And that's how many mocks I gave during my time. But yeah, that could vary from 5 mocks for someone who's really sharp and who knows what he's doing, and can go up to 50, 40 to 50 mocks. But I don't think that.
So what I would suggest is CAT, XAT, and any other OMET exam is more about test taking strategies and how you appear on the test. For example, I used to solve some topics very decently during my prep, but when it comes to the exam point of view, I wouldn't be able to solve it because of the time pressure and all. So what happens is you need to be very habitual of the test environment. So mocks comes very handy excelling at that. So at my time, I gave around last 3 months, it's 12 weeks, two mocks a week, so 24 mocks in last 3 months, and on top of that 5-6 mocks more, so 30ish is the ballpark figure for me, and I guess it should be sufficient for everyone irrespective of whatever their prep strategies.
I think very similar. So it's very different for everyone. How many mocks would you be comfortable with? Yeah. When do you feel that your preparation is at a good stage? Wherein you want to start with your mocks, and when you would be satisfied with them. I think contrary to Kashish, I think I gave more number of mocks because I felt during the end stage of my preparation, more of my preparation was being done by mocks only. I stopped solving any other books or anything else. So I think, again, it's up to you which form of test taking do you feel more comfortable. But again, taking anywhere between 20 to 25 mocks is a very good start for you, and wherein you will be very comfortable with the test pattern. But going even till 40 or 45, till what I went, is also perfectly well.
What do you think about the analysis of these mocks? Like once you are done solving them, what is your take on the analysis part? How important is that?
More than giving the mock, the analysis part becomes very important. So during our time, I think the CAT exam was for 2 hours. I think it just changed to suddenly. So I used to spend 2 hours giving the mock, but spend 3.5 hours analyzing the mock, because firstly, every section has a different strategy on how you should, analyze that mock. So again, that is the more important part, because not only you understand that what are the mistakes that you're making, but also when you're doing certain answers correct, you need to understand that were there a fluke, or was that some particular strategy or correct notion or correct understanding of forming that answer. So I think spending more time on analysis is very important.
Perfectly summed up by Yash. It's not the number of, it's not the mock that will help you prepare. It is the analysis, right? It is you knowing what you did right and what you did wrong. And I think, yeah, it is very, very important. Yeah. And if you think you don't have enough time, my recommendation would bring down the mocks, but do the analysis for whatever number of mocks that you've given correctly instead of chasing the number. But yeah, if you are able to do both, then it's well and good. That's best.
I completely agree with Kashish. What exactly mock does is it exposes you to your strength as well as weaknesses. So basis the analysis that you're doing, you will be preparing for the next mock and subsequent your exams as well. So analysis is the important part rather than taking the mock. So I used to spend around 3.5 to 4 hours for each mock, like analyzing and then getting up to the topics which I'm not comfortable with, and again practicing them and then giving next mock.
So this is about the mocks. Now to gain a broader perspective, can you tell us about your entire journey pursuing CAT? Like what all did you do? How did it help you in general?
I had this my third attempt. Before that, I gave 2 attempts, but I wasn't like fully into it. But this third attempt, I was working in a job which is very demanding. I used to work at around 20, 12, 13 hours a day. So what I used to do is I used to do around 2 hours of study or mock analysis, whatever I used to do on weekdays. But on weekends, I used to maximize my time. So for example, weekdays you have to work and you are tired, but on weekends you have whole 2 days of prep. You have to sacrifice some things like partying with your friends, meeting your friends for some time, but if you can utilize that 2 days effectively and maximize your prep during that, that would help you. And I genuinely did my most of the prep during the weekend only.
I joined IIM Lucknow as a fresher. So I just completed my graduation in 2021. Then I joined IIM Lucknow. So my preparation was a little different. I think I had, of course, more time to give to my CAT preparation. I started around, I think, April for the November attempt. And throughout the time, I think, even though I was in my final year, but I had a lot of time. So I used to spend around 4 to 5 hours in the initial few months, and then maybe 6 hours in the later few months. I know it's more than average. 6 to 7 hours is more than average what others might be spending. But again, totally depends. A lot of my friends, they used to spend only 3-4 hours every weekend and still manage to crack it. So I think the two important things here are about consistency. Even if you're preparing throughout the week, spending a lot of hours, or maybe only preparing on weekends, you still need to be very consistent. Maybe taking a break here and there is okay, but just not going on a frenzy of break, that's more important. And second thing is knowing what to study, not just haphazardly taking up everything that you're finding, every material that you find everywhere, right? Understanding what is important for you, maybe re-revising the same thing. So I only followed one set of books, and that was also the study material I got from my coaching institute. I didn't touch any other book, and I just re-revised that book, I think 3 to 4 times. And that was enough for me because I was able to cover a very big depth of that concept, and I was very quick on solving those questions. So I think these two things, this consistency and being sure of what you want to prepare on and not being haphazard, is important.
I think I agree with Yash here, because see, there's a plethora of knowledge or material that you get online or offline everywhere, right? And sometimes you can get overwhelmed by what your friends are studying, what you are studying. That could be different. But to have a good plan and to focus on it, I think that helps you maximize the amount of time that you're giving and how well you are extracting that information. For me, I never thought of it as that I have to put this much hour during days or weekdays or weekends, but the topic that I have to cover. So I used to divide my time, used to talk based on the topic. Usually, on an average, yeah, 3 to 4 hours on weekdays, and even on weekends. That was the amount of time I used to give to my preparation.
This is about the specific preparation journey that all you had. I would like to ask one more little question. Like I was talking about the analysis that you all did and the importance that it had. Can you elaborate a bit on specifically how you did the analysis? Like, did you make some notes or to revise later? Did you put them down in some Excel sheet? Any specific method which might help all of us?
There's no right answer for it. Everyone has their own methods to analyze and solve a mock. But what I used to do was, once I'd done the entire question, entire mock, I used to take it up. See, I used to divide it in 3 parts. First is the ones that I'd left, the questions that I left. Were those the question that I should have left or not? Second, the ones I got wrong, and the third, the ones I got right. So these were the 3 sections, and I used to see what is the problem and how I did it right, and if I got it right, how I could have done it faster. So this was the specific question wise, and a broader strategy I used to see. Was there a way I could have changed my strategy and done few more extra questions, or could have done it faster? So I didn't used to make an Excel or maintain an Excel, or neither do I used to make a note of it, but I used to keep it in my head and understand where I went wrong and where I went right.
So what I used to do is I had a separate book for mock analysis only. So where one page is like mock, say for example, mock 001. Then I would list down the problems where I left the problems. Second, obviously first type was where I actually left the problems, like without like even saying and like finding it tough. Second was the problems where I did well. I actually wrote the right answer, but I took the more time, more than the average time which is listed on your mock analysis portal. So these were the types that I used to do, and then I used to work on that. And when I'm going to next mock, I used to see that mock book again and again. Before going to CAT, the only thing that I did was just scroll through all the pages of all the mocks, what mistakes I did, and how did I improve it. So that was my analysis strategy for mocks.
I don't think so. I even was so meticulous in the maintenance of those mock notes, but I think I did my mock analysis very thoroughly. So my idea with mocks, I never maintained any Excels, any mock notebooks or something like that. My idea with mocks was that whatever mock I give, jiska bhi analysis I got back, I used to go through every question. I didn't stop at which questions I solved, then I'll go to another type of questions. I used to go through every question number wise. My idea was that if I had done that wrong, I'd look at the ways of how to do it better or how to do it correctly. If I'd done it right, my first idea would be to check that the logic that I used, is it the same? This was generally for verbal and DILR. And if it was not, then what was a better way? Because verbal ability mein, there are a lot of questions wherein you will find that are not RC based, wherein you will find jumbled sentences or odd man out questions, right? Then you can understand that what are the logics that they are using to do these questions faster. So there will be video analysis also for each questions. So you get to understand that what are the ideas that they are using, and that just improves your overall accuracy for later mocks as well. For DILR, I think I used to solve good amount of sets. The ones I couldn't solve, I just used to see how are they solving. The ones I solved, I still went through the videos to understand, is my way the same way? If it was, I used to leave the video. If it wasn't, I used to see that how are they doing. I think for quantitative aptitude, that was my weaker section. Still, I was able to manage pretty well during CAT. So I think for that, I put in the most effort. Every question that I did, even if it was right or wrong, I used to watch the video just to understand any alternative methods that they're using or any quicker methods that they're using. So I think that is why I used to take 3.5 hours or something like that to analyze my mock, because I was very thorough with that. And at the end, I think I did only one different thing, wherein after a few mocks, I realized that there are a lot of recurring formulas that are being used in quants at least. So I used to maintain a notebook for all those formulas. So I wrote chapter-wise formulas for all of them. And then I think I used to revise that notebook before every mock. And subsequently, I did that before my CAT exam also. So it just felt very normal for me to revise those formulas and then go to any examination.